Welcome to episode 52 of Mad Props. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome if you're listening for the first time. Today we have Rachel Molnar on, also known as Rachel on Twitch. You can find her, not Rachel on Twitch, where her full thing is Rachel on Twitch. Links will be down below if you want to follow her on Instagram, on TikTok, anywhere you want to do that. She has amazing work. She does artwork. She does streaming. She does other videos. We're going to talk all about it, so definitely stick around. You'll hear all that. Before we get started, though, make sure you follow Mad Props on Instagram, Mad Props Pod, or you can also follow us on Facebook, Mad Props with me, Chris Schnabel. It doesn't have the with me in it. It's just Mad Props with Chris Schnabel. You can also follow Schnabel Studios anywhere you get your social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, which is a crazy one. We have a good following going on there. YouTube and TikTok. Instagram is the best place to follow, get updates. That's where we're the most active. So go follow us on Instagram, Schnabel Studios, Schnabel Studios. Make sure you hear the most recent sketching up. We are currently in the cartoon March Madness bracket right at the end. So if you want to get more updates on that, definitely go listen to Sketching Up. Also listen to Southern Hospitality. That's with my boy Kyle Scott. He's a co-host of Sketching Up and one of my guys. Go listen to Southern Hospitality. If you want to find all that stuff, just go to our YouTube page, Schnabel Studios. All of the podcasts are there. Why don't you subscribe while you're at it and go like a couple videos and go comment. Tell us how we're doing. Do all that stuff. Schnabel Studios is where you want to be. All right, let's start the music. Let's start the song. Let's get into it. Mad Props. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Rachel, also known as Rachel on Twitch. Let's start the show.
Rachel, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making the time and all that great stuff. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a crazy week. Been crazy stuff going on between meetings and interviews and dog issues that we discussed off the air. And we'll just leave it at that and all this other stuff. It's just been a crazy week, but I get to sit down and do this and talk with people. So this is the best part of the day. And this is what I like to do. I thought it was funny. I asked how you're doing. You asked how I'm doing. It's so funny that starts that way. Like we didn't just have a conversation off air before we got on here, but nobody knows that. So you just start with that anyway.
It's oh my gosh, hi for the first time.
Oh, hey, you just joined. Amazing. Like, how you doing? Like we didn't do that
after 10 minutes.
I guess it's good because everybody else needs to know how you're doing today and everything as well. So
yeah, I hope everyone else is having a good day.
Yeah, if you're having a good day, drop in the comments, right? Tell us how you're doing. Tell us how your day's going in the comments. Boom, marketing.
Please personally tag me if you're having a good day.
Oh, specifically tags, everything. Yeah, tell us how you're doing. That's it. That's the podcast. Tell us how you're doing. That's it. No, but it's great for you to be here. We met at a card convention. You'll remember the name of it. I don't remember the name of it. I think it was C3.
No, EC3Con.
Close. I'll let her off.
Close. It was a card convention that took place at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut.
Yep. And we were walking by. I was with my friend Jose. We were walking by, and you had these Pokemon wood painting. I don't want to butcher how it is. It's a Pokemon wood painting, but it's pixelated, and it was very interesting. So we got to talking, and then eventually I was like, "Hey, do you want to come on the podcast, talk about that, talk about other stuff?" And you said, "Yeah," and that's how you're here right now.
And here I am.
You are. How'd you get into doing the painting of the pixelated Pokemon wood frames?
So yeah, a little bit more about that. So I really like cutting out wood. I use like a really thick plywood. It's like 1/4 of an inch thick. And I hand cut it with a bandsaw into like kind of 8-bit characters. I've done Minecraft, I've done Terraria, I've done Pokemon, and then I paint them by hand. It all started with Minecraft. I was a Twitch streamer at the time, and I was streaming Minecraft, and my whole For You page on TikTok was Minecraft. So, of course, my inspiration actually came from a video. It was just some random TikTok, but this girl had a sticker on her wall that was a music disc called Chirp. And it was just a sticker, but I thought to myself, what if it was like a plaque? Like, what if it had some like dimension to it? Like that, I think that would be really cool. Like I'd put that on my wall. So, being crafty and artsy that I am, I took to the bandsaw. My dad showed me how to do it, how I could cut out this piece of plywood. And, since I was kind of like an up and coming creator at the time, I was trying to like, get started on TikTok and Twitch. I was like, let me like make like a process video on TikTok and see like what people think. Cause like, I think this is really cool. So long story short, I made Chirp, the music disc. That was the first piece I ever made. That was like one of my hand cut wooden things. And I made a little process video of me doing it. I posted it, and like I was just kind of like doing trends at the time. I didn't really know what I wanted to post, but I posted that video, and it like was easily like the most viewed video on my account, and everyone commented like, "Oh, can you make this? Can you make this?" And I just got like so excited because as an artist, like one of my absolute favorite things is just like connecting with other people, especially like over art and my own art. So the fact that I was already excited about it for myself, and then other people were excited to see more, I was like, wow, let me do more. So it spiraled, and I did a lot of Minecraft stuff for about a year, and then I started to mix it up a little bit, did some Terraria, did some Pokemon, and yeah, and now I just kind of do all of it. I make a lot of Pokemon stuff right now because for a little while I was running a card business with my friend, selling Pokemon cards at conventions, which is thus how I was at EC3Con. And we would sell cards, and I'd also sell like some Pokemon art that was 8-bit, like pixelized 8-bit, that was inspired by, if anyone's played the old DS games, like Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Those are like probably my favorite DS games of Pokemon. They're inspired kind of like by the characters that follow you, like when your Pokemon buddy is like following you. That's kind of like the references I use. But yeah, so I would just make a bunch of those and bring them to shows, and it was a great conversation starter with people, which I think I loved even more. I just love connecting with people over the art. But yeah, that's kind of it.
So are you like someone that was like artistic your entire life growing up and wanted to get into art in some way, shape, and form, and this is kind of your outlet, or yeah?
I've always loved art. I am definitely like a hands-on creator. Like I love creating things with my hands. That's the best way to say it. I've always loved drawing. It definitely my art started with drawing. And I remember like as early as like as early as like childhood, I've just always loved drawing. I used to draw with my mom. I wasn't really good because I was like 9, but I remember distinctly in like 5th grade elementary school, I was like in like a before school program, and one of the people, like it was like one of the people who were like helping run it was like a really good artist, and felt so inspired. I was like, wow, like could I ever be that good? Like, and then I just like pushed myself from then on just to draw and draw and draw, and so much drawing in my free time. Like I had a book that I would draw in, like I'd take around with me. None of it was good, but you start somewhere, and I put in the time, and I still love drawing. I still draw to this day. I post those occasionally to like my Instagram and stuff, but definitely started with drawing and then painting and even like color pencils. And I'd say I only really got into the wood stuff like 2 years ago when the story I told you happened.
Yeah. So if you want to find any of that, by the way, Rachel on Twitch, as we already said, you can go see all of that. So when did you start seeing like the social media following build up? Because for anybody that hasn't seen your profiles, you have a good amount you have a very good amount on Instagram. Twitch is like a 10 or 11,000, but your TikTok is it's your biggest following, I believe, out of all of them. So when did you start seeing that happen? Yeah,
so it was very rapid because it was right when I started doing these wooden pieces. I had maybe like 1,000 to 4,000 followers on TikTok when I started doing like the wooden pieces, but right when I started posting them, like the traction to my page just grew exponentially. And Yeah, like with every video, like the views just went up and up, like easily. Like, I mean, there's like a period where like just one video after another was getting like at least 1 million views, like each one, and it was just me painting. And it was growing so fast that if I like refreshed my page, I could watch the number go up, like of my following. Like it was absolutely insane. And that being said, a little like the grind was real because I loved doing this wooden art. I got so excited. I wanted to see what I could create, and I also at the time was streaming on Twitch. So I think part of the reason why my following was growing so much was the amount of time I was putting into making these videos and streaming, because my daily routine looks something like waking up, cutting out the piece of wood that I was going to paint that day, going live on TikTok, painting the piece live on TikTok, and then hanging up on TikTok live to go edit the video for an hour, post the video, and then stream on Twitch for 2.5 hours. And then by then it's like 6 or 7 p.m. And this was like during summer 2021. So it was like kind of coming out of COVID, but still no one was really doing anything. So obviously that's kind of why I was doing just that entirely. But it didn't even feel like long days, because honestly, it was just a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty chatty person, so it was a very social thing to take part in. So
Do you feel like the added following gave you pressure to do more videos? Like, did you feel like, oh my God, I have to do a video today? Like, or were you just happy that you were getting the following and you were like, I'm going to post when I post, and if they stick around, they stick around?
Definitely felt a little pressured. 'Cause, you know, especially when I was at a point where I hadn't made a lot of things already, there was a lot of things people wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do all of them, but like, you know, there's only so much time, more than the time I'm already putting in, that I could put in. That was a confusing way to say that, but like I was already putting almost my entire day into it. There was no room to fit anything else. So it was kind of like, I kind of had to just like take a step back, and like I tried to make a schedule for myself. Like, all right, like I can do a painting like a day, like, and I can do this, but like I need to find some time for myself too, and the people in my life as well. But you know, like now that we're kind of out of COVID, hopefully, I don't think I could put that kind of time into those just social media. And that being said, I'm so busy with school now. I went back to school, so I'm in college studying right now. I don't really have the time to be live on Twitch these days, which I'd like to return to eventually. But
do you, yeah, I mean, once everybody had to go back to work and stuff like that, it just became like all that time that you had to do all these extra activities and hobbies just kind of dissipated, and you got to see the people that were able to continue with what they were doing, and then you also saw the people that it fell off, and they fell off, and their pages kind of whatever, or they're following whatever or whatever. But it doesn't seem like yours is dissipated. If you said you started in 2021, it's not 2023, and you still got a good following going behind it. Did you ever think when you started to build that following, like, I could build on this and try to make it like my job, instead of actually going for one?
Yeah, no, it definitely crossed my mind. Like I was getting sponsorships and a lot of sponsorship requests. Sorry, that's like a tongue twister. I was getting sponsors and stuff, but I didn't take a lot of them because like I didn't want my page to feel like it was just another influencer's page. I didn't want to push ads onto people. Like I said, like my favorite part of this entire journey has been just connecting with people over the things I love, which are video games and art and Minecraft. And I didn't want it to feel like an artificial page or relationship, I guess, with my following. So I was kind of like in a weird in between, because it's like, yes, I wanted this to be my job, but in order to do that, I do need to get sponsorships, because TikTok doesn't actually pay that much money to the creators.
None of them do.
No. Yeah. So I think, but yeah.
If they did, there would never be sponsors.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, but there was a point where like I was doing some of the sponsorships, and like the views I was getting on my videos were paying better than my minimum wage job at the time anyway. So I actually like quit my job for like the summer which is why I had that much time. I wasn't really working. Or I kind of quit like halfway through. And just like put all my time into that. And, you know, even today I would consider like doing content creation as a full-time career. Cause like I said, I just love creating and being creative. And I feel like, and being social, which all those things make content creation a great outlet for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. That's why I do a podcast in the first place. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a job and I try to put, so I talk to some people that I know that have big followings or the influencers, whatever, that I've met through my time doing social media. And the one thing they tell me is like, and this is something I've done more recently. We talked off air about how much more I'm trying to put into this and how I'm trying to build it a little more. They're like, you can have that full-time job. You can have whatever you do. You need to at least commit an hour a day to do something, whatever it is, just do something for an hour,
Yeah.
whether it's editing a video, making a graphic, making a post, whatever it is, scheduling an hour a day, take it to do whatever. And that's kind of how I've done it. Like I've spent a lot of time some days, but I at least spend an hour doing something to try to build. And it's gone to show. I mean, like, it's a slow process, obviously, and you know, if you're listening to this, go subscribe to Schnabel Studios, and but I'm assuming if you're listening, you might already be subscribed, but yeah, it's a slow grind. But yeah, they were telling like when they were starting, they're like, I had a full-time job, I put an hour a day. One of them plays soccer. He's like, I play soccer full time, but I put at least an hour a day in, and that's how I push the content out, and that's how I keep building and growing and stuff like that. So yeah. It's a grind.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to procrastinate and push things off, but like with content creation, like more than anything else, consistency is key. Consistency is key. So like even just pushing yourself to do an hour a day of something like helpful or contributing to that goal, it can go a long way. And a lot can happen in an hour. You can get a lot done. Yeah,
it really can. It really can. So when you said you didn't take on sponsorships, but you didn't think of trying other different ways like a Patreon or a subscription. I mean, like Twitch has subscriptions, right? I don't really know I'm gonna sound old here. I know how Twitch works, but I don't know how Twitch works at the same time. It's just a social media I never really got into in that way. But like, have you ever thought of things like that where people just like they're paying you and it's kind of like an ad, but they're paying you because they enjoy what you do?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely Twitch subs. That was another way I was making money, and Twitch donations. Yeah, that was an outlet for income as well. I also have still an Etsy shop where you can go and buy my art that I like to update as frequently as I can.
We'll link it below. Go to below. Yeah. Link it below. Go check it out.
Excellent. You can also DM me, and I do commissions, but that's another fun thing I like to do. But yeah, those are kind of the only outlets of income I was really, and like I said, occasional sponsorships. But even still, like Twitch, I really only streamed from like June of 2021 until August, because August was when I left for my first year of college. And I had to live on campus, so there was just no way for me to stream there. Yeah. So yeah, I that was the time period that I was the most active on Twitch. And since then, it's been very, very occasional, like once in a couple months, like stream. I think it's been a couple years at this point for me. But yeah, so Twitch subs isn't really like an active source of income.
But I think you can like do subs on Instagram now and things like that.
So the thing about me is, you know, it's ironic because as like a content creator, I have a hard time publishing content. Like my personal Instagram gets updated every 6 months. Like I post like about myself like maybe once every 6 months, maybe even longer. I've never been very good at like posting, like which is like except for that one time period where I was posting every day. Like, but like, you know, just like with the college starting up, some like family stuff, like life definitely, and COVID, like life was just tough, and I didn't have the time anymore that I used to have. I didn't even have like the motivation to post for a while. I feel like only recently have I like really wanted to start like sharing more of my art again. It's I'm coming back, but
The
I'm
comeback. Get ready. Comeback 23,
get
24.
ready, guys. It's just tough because like I've never really like not it's hard to say that I didn't enjoy posting, but it's hard because I like overthink it a lot, and like I'm like, is this post worthy? But like really anything I'm doing could just be a post.
I completely get what you're saying there. It
Yeah.
becomes when some things, when you do them to a point where you feel like you have to do it, it doesn't do it. You're not doing it for enjoyment anymore. You're doing it
Mm-hmm.
because you feel like you're obligated to, which takes the fun out of it, which makes you kind of want to stop doing it. Like it happens to a lot of people. It's called burning out. Like people burn
Yeah.
out all the time.
Yeah.
And I completely understand what you're talking about there, especially like I said, two completely different things, but just the grind of trying to get things on our podcasting page with our 3 different shows is an absolute hassle. And some days I'm just like, all right, I can't do this anymore. It's just me doing it. This is
Right.
it. But it's the pushing through that. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like when I first started this podcast and Sketching Up, which is the other podcast, they started around the same. Sketching Up started right before COVID. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
actually, I know the exact date, January 20th, 2023. And you only know that because we had Charlie Rosen on, who's gone on to do amazing things. Go check out the 8-Bit Big Band.
Wow.
New album coming out soon. That's just a free plug. Completely free plug. I just love Charlie Rosen. That's the only reason I remember that, though. But he that's when that started, and then Mad Props started a little bit after that. But my motivation wasn't to build this on social. My motivation at the time was losing weight. I was very big. I was 200 pounds heavier than I am now, and I lost it all
Wow.
in like
Good for
a
you.
couple of months. I feel like on multiple podcasts, this has been something I've talked about more and more than I don't usually talk about a lot of podcasts, but it's come up on like the last 4 I've done. But anyway, that was my motivation. Like when I was done podcasting, it wasn't all right. Now I need to find the social, and I need to make a graphic, and I need to make this. It was all right. I'm done with this. Let's go work out. Let's go run. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Like it was just being active. But now I've been able to find that balance of both of them, and here we are. So
That's awesome.
going back to what you said, where the motivation might not be there. I understand that because sometimes the will to do it's there, but the motivation to actually do it is not there. And then on top of that, one thing I always say when I've gone on the last couple podcasts and people ask me about the weight loss, motivation's one thing, discipline's the other. The
Yeah.
discipline to get up and post every day is much
Yeah.
bigger. You're probably motivated to post a lot. Like you're like, wow, I have a big following. Like I could continue this. Like I'm motivated to do this, but it's like, but then I gotta go and I gotta do it and I gotta edit this and and that's where it hits.
Yeah.
So it's really the discipline in my eyes that gets people to get up and do things. Like just push yourself. Push yourself.
Well,
I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm kind of talking in the air right now, by the way.
yeah. No, well, first of all, mad props to you because
Mad
that's
props.
incredible. Mad props.
That might be the
No,
first time a guest has used the name of the show to do it. That's fantastic. Like
I got you.
you're killing it right now.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Uh, but yeah, no, definitely. You know, sometimes what it feels like is kind of like I just have to drag one foot in front of the other and just walk in the direction I need to be headed. And you know, I might not necessarily want to take a walk today, but like it's about that 1 hour. You know, dedicating at least 1 hour a day, like you were saying, into the project that you want to see results from. Like that's dragging the one foot in front of the other. Like that is discipline. And even if you don't want to do it, it's gonna pay off. And it's
Yeah.
so I definitely can resonate with what you were saying.
Yeah.
And as for like posting, you know, I actually love editing. I've edited a couple of gaming montages. I'm trying to get a lot better, but I love editing. And I like editing the videos, but I find that and if you go look at my page, you can easily tell, like a lot of my videos are very, very similar to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, it's because like I get nervous posting. It's so ironic because as a content creator, I'm nervous to post every time. And it's like this love-hate relationship with like being like so online, I guess. But so I find comfort in, you know, talking about my art, like, and making videos that are very similar because it's something I'm used to and comfortable with. I think something that I have been thinking a lot about in my time off, if you will, is how I can get more creative with my content and sharing my art. And there's one video on my page. If you maybe that's how you know me or not. There's one video that I did. It was so silly and ridiculous. It was I had made a Minecraft emerald, and I work at a cafe during the day, and I brought it to work one day, and I was like to my coworker, I was like, hey, can we film this like silly video? I just like thought of it on the drive here. She was like, sure. So it was like a transaction. So so they were supposed to like pretend they were buying coffee, right? But they didn't have the money. And then I'd be like, well, do you have a card you want to try? And then they would like slide forward the emerald that I painted. And then basically the punchline is just me going, her, like a Minecraft villager. Like when you trade with them and they like they're like, hmm. So I literally thought that was just gonna be like an embarrassing like little like random video someone's gonna scroll and like find one day, but like literally within the hour it just absolutely blew up. It's my most viewed video. It gets reposted to this day. It's like it's been a year, like almost on the dot. It's been a year since I posted that video. It still gets reposted and blows up every time. I've seen people react to me in YouTube edits. I think that's like been the craziest thing is just like my friends and people I went to high school with sending me videos of myself, like being like, this you, and I'm like, yes. Where did you find this? It's so ridiculous. I don't know why it blew up, but it just went to show that like switching up and finding creative ways to like show off like my art or just something different is worth it. Like just branch out, like get creative. Like I've been trying to brainstorm ways I can get creative and do more of that.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I've had people I've worked with and interns I've worked with. See, I've always didn't care if I thought something was good, try it out. You can try something out, and if it fails, it fails. Like you're good. That's part of creation. That's part of building, right? Is
Yeah.
sometimes you're going to fail. Well, what did I learn from this failure? Oh, well, this probably doesn't work. Like, I feel like a lot of people fear that failure and that's why they don't want to push themselves. But like, that's just something that's going to, I mean, think of like the most popular shows of all time, or let's just make a TV reference. Like there are shows that you can think of where you're like, that episode stinks, but the show itself is amazing, right? Like everyone's going to have that where they're going to have, it's not a creative lull. It's just like, I need to try something new. Let's see if it works. And sometimes it doesn't. There's a term for it. It's called jumping the shark. It's from Happy Days because they need to jump the shark because they ran out of creative ideas. They need to pull people in. It happens. So like, just because you don't think something might work or you're like, I don't know, is this too dumb? Like, first of all, dumb humor is the best humor for online. Like,
yeah, apparently.
it is the best humor for online. Like,
absolutely.
Dumb humor, cats and dogs, babies, they're always going to hit. It doesn't matter. They're always going to. I actually just had a conversation with my girlfriend about babies and influencers things. Whole conversation we don't have to get into here, but to me, it's like, babies are going to hit. So you're kind of using your baby to get views and likes and comments, which puts you in the algorithm. That's all we'll go into it with that. But those will always hit. Those things will always hit. Silly videos will always hit. There was a whole show about it before the internet. America's got America's funniest home videos. And that became YouTube, and that became MySpace and Facebook and this and this, and now it's TikTok. Then it was Vine before that. I loved Vine.
Dogs and babies are taking over.
Yeah. So like now they're everywhere, and now that we said this, it's going to be on everybody's feed that listens to this because they're all listening.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome.
Just became a conspiracy podcast. They're always listening. But yeah, so just it's one thing with creativity is just the creators of South Park, which is a very successful show. I do like watching their documentaries and stuff because their creative process, obviously, if people know South Park, they create everything in 7 days, which is just like unbelievable for any TV show. Like,
I didn't even know that. That's insane.
They have a documentary called 7 Days to Air, and it's about the creation of an episode of South Park. It's a full documentary. It was on Comedy Central probably 8, 9, 10 years ago or something like that. But it's amazing to see their process. So I believe it's Trey Parker. Yeah, Trey Parker's like the guy that writes the scripts and everything. And Matt Stone also does that stuff. I think I just got their names right. But Trey Parker hates every single episode. Hates it. Will not watch it when it comes out. Won't look at the reviews. Won't read. He hates every episode that comes out because he feels like the same way you're talking about. Like, people are gonna hate it. That's it. We're gonna get canceled. It's gonna suck. That's how he feels after every single episode. And they have had a lot of successful episodes. Sure, they probably had some misses, but like, it just goes to show their episodes they hated the most ended up being some of the most popular of all time. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you never know what's actually going to hit. And creatively, like, my favorite creative thing to do is be creative with other people. Like, if you have an idea, you run it across me. Maybe I'm like, that's not like, that's a great idea. How can you build on it? That's how I like to do it. Again, I learned that from the creators of South Park. They don't have any bad ideas. That's a great idea, but how can we build on that idea? How can we make it even better of an idea? That's how I love to do it. So just never go in thinking of bad ideas. Where that rant went from is, don't ever go in thinking it's a bad idea, because you never know. You never know who's going to connect with it. And
Yeah, true.
if you like something, there's a lot of people on this planet. There's someone else out there that's going to like it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I mean, just get creative, like get out of your comfort zone, like try new things. I mean, that's good advice for almost anything.
Literally
you're
anything.
part of, yeah.
Has not just content creation, literally anything. Go out of your comfort zone. Try something new, because that's how you live life. That's how you live a full life. That's how you live a full life. Live life. Live a full life. So, switching gears really quick, you are in school right now for game design. We've already known you're a big video game person, streaming on Twitch.
Big surprise. I like video games.
Are you PS5? Are you Xbox? I know you probably have your own setup as well. PC. Like, what are your gaming consoles?
Well, I've definitely tried out a good bit. I'd say the main console is my setup, my PC setup. But I had a little PS4 ARC. I had a very long DSi/3DS ARC, which I loved.
Love it.
That might be my most nostalgic ARC for calling that ARC. But and I have like a Switch, but I don't use it as often. I definitely play a lot of PC games, mainly Valorant right now. I love competitive games, like competitive shooters. I've played a lot of Rainbow Six Siege. I'm very active in Valorant right now. But yeah, I'm also in school for video game design, like the art track. So I'm hoping to design visuals for games. Still trying to figure out if I would like to be like a 3D artist or a 2D artist, maybe something different entirely. But I've been doing a lot of practice with those two things as of like this semester and hopefully the next coming one. So yeah, and I'm in my second year of school, so it's been very exciting.
What's the dream company to work for?
I couldn't say. I mean, I do love the art style of Riot, and I do love the idea of maybe coming up with concept art for characters and guns for like the games like by the way, Riot Games makes Valorant, so like coming up with these things for like a game like Valorant. But I think I need to get a better grasp of like what kind of area I want to pursue, and ultimately I would just really like to do something that makes me happy. Like, I just want to really love what I'm working on, and if that means it's not under a big name, then like so be it. Like, as long as I feel like I can be really proud of stuff that I'm putting my time into, then I feel like it's worth it for me.
Great mindset to go in with. It really is an amazing mindset to go in with, because when you have that one track mind, I feel it's not that it takes longer, but it's just a lot tougher. And that's a great one track, or a great non-one track mind.
Yeah. I definitely find that like when I'm more open to experiences, it's been more rewarding. Like in the past, and
try
not
new
to be
things.
Quick. Yes, that's
Put
what
yourself
we're saying.
out there. Live life.
Live, laugh, love, guys.
Yeah, you've seen that before. You've been in a Hobby Lobby. You've seen it.
Yep. I know it's on your kitchen wall.
It's on someone's kitchen wall. If it's not yours, it's grandmother's.
But I find that when I'm more open to things, like even if I think I'm not going to enjoy something, I try to just say yes anyway, and I usually have a good time. Like, same with like even like you could like transition that to like projects, like especially my art class right now, my drawing class at school. We did environment drawing and character drawing, and those are two things I've never really explored at all. And it's kind of like, oh, like I don't really know how to, like, I'm gonna like start this. Like, what am I even gonna draw? Like, what am I, like, I had no ideas. But like, as I like really pushed myself to get creative and like come up with ideas, like I found that I actually really enjoyed, especially environment drawing. I feel like I'm in my free time, I'd like to do even more of that. And it just goes to show that like being open to experiences can lead to like self-discovery even.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
It's how I got into video in the first place. I didn't get into video until almost my senior year of college, and it was because of a live CNN hit that happened with Henry C. Lee at the University of New Haven. Henry C. Lee was the lead forensic scientist in the O.J. Simpson case. He's now
Wow.
a professor over there, basically runs the school. I had to do a
Mhm.
live CNN hit. I was like, that was so much fun. Went into video. Here we are 10 years later, still doing video. Like, I've
Let's
had a lot of
go.
experiences like that. Actually, I
Yeah.
worked the US Open one time, tennis, never cared about tennis. Thought it was a cool experience. Tennis is like one of my favorite sports now because of that. Like, it's try new things, live life.
Yes.
Just
It's
everything.
honestly such good advice. Like just general life advice. That's like the number one thing I'd tell someone. Just be open to experiences, and that's so cliche, but like for the reasons we just said, like so you can learn more about yourself
Yeah.
and potentially have a good time when
There's a
you think
reason
you would.
cliches exist, right? It's
Yeah.
because they most of the time could be true. Most of the
Yeah.
time. So are you just kind of a video game person? Do you do cartoons? Do you do comic book stuff? Like what else do you like to draw?
I've been trying to teach myself kind of different art styles because this art class or the couple art classes I'm in this semester are the first I've ever taken ever.
Hmm.
So since I love drawing so much, I've spent so much time. I've developed like a self-taught like artistic ability. But that being said, I also work at a gym at a desk, and so
Hmm.
it's a lot of sitting around just answering the phone and like so I bought like an iPad and a pencil, and I've been trying to teach myself digital art. So kind of while I'm working the desk, I've been like drawing and like looking at like kind of like concepts on Pinterest, which is a great tool for artists, by the way. Like if you're looking for inspiration, Pinterest is a great tool. And I've been getting into like anime drawing. I love anime. And it's a lot harder than I thought it would be. Like you would think it's not, because it's like cartoon. It's like so like the colors are very like black and white. Well, not black and white, but like hard cut edges. There's no like
Yeah.
blending and shadows and stuff. It's so hard. Like
But I feel like
I've gone
anime
from
is a lot more detailed than like a normal like what you call Western cartoon or something like that. Like there's more detail in each shot, I feel like.
yeah, there definitely could be, but even just like the simple characters, it's just so different from what I'm used to drawing, which is on paper with a pencil and animals. Like I do a lot of animal drawing, and like with that you can be flexible because not all fur and stuff is like it's not easy to spot like a difference in that. But an anime character, like I think the thing I struggle with the most is like the face, the
Hmm.
eyes, like if they're big enough, if they're too high, like it just never looks right. But in contrast to that, I've been forcing myself to do a lot of drawing like that so I can get better, and that's the only way you're going to get better at something is to just put the time in to learn it. So
Practice.
I do like anime drawing. I've done kind of realism digitally as well, like colored realism, but and there's like a couple examples of that on my Instagram. But I'd say like because I was doing so much, like the card business was taking a lot of my time, and on top of like the only free time I really had, I put into making pieces that I could bring. So I found that the art that I'm really doing the most is drawing and the wooden stuff.
Yeah. We'll have to
Yeah.
get you on the wall here. These things behind me are all former guests. We'll have to get you on the wall somewhere.
Hey, I'll mail you something.
Yeah, this is Scott Koblish, comic book.
Wow.
He does comic books. Above here, her name's now Stardust Cartoonist. This is from when Darren Nefsey, who is a Disney creator, came on. This isn't
Yeah.
drawn, but it was drawn at one time. But this is just a print, but it's signed. This is from Darren Nefsey. So
Wow.
these are from the same episode, but we'll have to get you up here somewhere. That's what
All
I'm trying to
right.
do. I'm trying to have the collection of things from episodes behind me because I
That's so
just
fun.
show you guys. It's like more promotion, even when you're not even on anymore.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, just let me know. I'll whip something up for you.
So you've done a lot of different ventures, right? Twitch, Instagram stuff, TikTok stuff, card business, um, all this other stuff. What is the like absolute dream direction you can take? Would you rather just keep doing like the painting stuff where you can sell your stuff and it kind of just builds online? Like, because you don't have to necessarily be a content creator to continue like posting your stuff to Twitch and having people buy it, or not Twitch, TikTok and having people buy
Yeah.
it, right? Like you could just have that, people buy it and you can make your money that way. Or would you rather do more things like the coffee shop bit and like make bits like that, have more comedy to it? Like what would you say? Obviously your dream is to do the video game stuff, but in content form, like would you rather be more of a content creator? Would you rather just sell your own stuff? Would you rather do a different route? Like, what are you
Yeah.
thinking?
That's a great question. I don't even know myself. There's just so many things I love doing. I think ultimately, like just with the everything that happened ever in the past like 2 years, like in my life, I feel like I have a lot of like anxiety with posting. But in contrast to that, I want to post a lot more, and I want to post like more about me because it was recently that I like stepped back and I realized I was like, wow, like I don't even know if like my followers like know me at all because I post so much of like what I'm doing in my art. Like they like nothing about like who I am, what I like I'm a musician and I love to sing too. I would love to like post some like singing stuff, but I've always been that's a line where I can't cross right now because I'm like too nervous.
Sing
But
right
like,
now.
oh gosh.
On the stream.
But my like on Twitch, I used to sing for people. Like I like or every if someone said it was their birthday, like I'd sing. That was like my thing. Like I'd sing happy birthday to them. But yeah, ultimately, I would just really love to be doing like something where I feel like I can express myself and connect with others and be creative. I feel like those are like some top things, and whether that means like going back to Twitch and like streaming, which I think I would really love given time. I think the sun is coming right right into my face. Sorry, I got distracted. I just turned golden for a second. Um, but yeah, whether that be Twitch, where I can just share whatever I feel like doing, because Twitch is great because you don't have to play games. You can just chat.
Yeah.
You can do almost anything you want on Twitch, and it's a great platform. For self-expression, but also yeah, so yeah, just to sum it up, I guess it would just be those things, just somewhere I can express my creativity, connect with others, and I do see that being online, like Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, but I can also see that being, like maybe I leave those things behind and I pursue like just game design entirely and work for a company, or maybe I do both. Maybe I post what I'm working on if allowed.
I think
So
both. I think you could do both.
yeah.
Like I said, like there are people that have full-time jobs that also hour a day do it. And you said you like talking and stuff. Have you ever like why haven't you even had the thought of starting a podcast or something like that? Having people on to talk just like this.
That's a great point. I think it's because I have a hard time posting just pictures, let alone drafting up questions and answers to things and inviting people on. But it's not a bad idea. I feel like there's just so many things I do love doing, and I don't have the time to do all of them because it's like I'm in school and I was running like a card business where, we're doing inventory and all these things that take so much time. On top of that, I'm trying to post on Instagram and TikTok and edit videos and like make pieces and do commissions like on the side and work two jobs. Like it's just, it was a lot. So in due time, there's definitely more things I would like to try, but that kind of means like giving up other things. And right now it's been me kind of stepping away from Instagram and TikTok to kind of find myself and what I enjoy more. But that doesn't mean I'm giving up forever. It just means I'm on a trip of self-discovery.
So at the last couple minutes here, why don't you
Yeah.
give some promotion on things you want to promote? Doesn't have to be your social media. It can be. What do you want to promote right now? What do you want people to do with the stuff you do? Because you have a lot you do. You can promote everything. You can promote your art. What do you want
Yeah.
What do you want people to find?
Well, first of all, I appreciate everyone who's tuned in to the podcast. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch, all with the handle Rachel on Twitch. You know, Rachel on Twitch on Twitch.
It'll be linked below.
Yeah. But you know, if you like the art and if you like can resonate with like the stuff that I do, just leave a comment. I love to like chat with people in my comments, like and connect with people. And commissions, you can always DM me as well. I always get excited when someone wants something unique. So, but yeah, just if you want to check those socials out, I'd appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning into another great episode of Mad Props. Again, thank you, Rachel on Twitch. Go follow her on Instagram and TikTok. Again, her full name is Rachel on Twitch. That you need to type that whole thing out to find her. Thank you for joining us there. Make sure you follow Schnabel Studios as well on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Go follow the channel there. We post a lot on there. We do shorts on there. We do other videos on there. We're making shorter videos on there as well. So go check that out if you want a lot of good content there. Make sure you go listen. Sorry. Lost it there. Make sure you go listen to the newest Sketching Up. We are at the tail end of our cartoon song bracket. It is going really well. Go check that out. Make sure you vote on that. Go check out Southern Hospitality with my guy, Kyle Scott. And make sure you like us and give us hearts and stars and all of that everywhere you get your podcast, because you can follow Mad Props on the go if you want, or you can watch on YouTube on Schnabel Studios, anywhere you want. Thank you guys so much for listening again. We really appreciate being here. This was another episode of Mad Props. We'll see you next time in episode 53. See you later. Deuces. Peace out.